Ahoy and welcome back once again to the channel. The watch I'm going to be showing you in today's video is a new release. It is a dive watch. I think dive watches are probably the most popular style of watch today. Do any of us actually take them diving? No, I don't think so. We might swim with them, but I think we just like the fact that they're over-engineered. They're going to cope with whatever we throw at them. They have these moving bezels, which, well, I like to fiddle with, and I suspect a lot of you like to fiddle with them as well. They look very, very good. Very manly, aren't they? Quite often they're quite big and chunky, although the watch I'm going to be showing you in today's video is smaller than average. It's quite deep and chunky, and there's a very good reason for that. I'll come back onto that in a minute. But as dive watches go, it is quite petite, and it is a 300-meter diver. The brand is Aquatico. They've got a decent catalogue of watches now, quite often supporting, well, always supporting incredible specifications. The build quality is always really, really good. I do think this brand gets overlooked at times, and yeah, you can buy their watches on AliExpress or on their .com website. I'll put a link to both in my video description. It's difficult at the moment for me to talk about prices because prices vary so much. Currency exchanges, tariffs, price variations between AliExpress stores and .com websites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the screen the prices at the time of uploading the video. So just before I upload it, I'll put some screenshots of the current prices for the watch I'm showing you in today's video. I know roughly what it's going to be, and I know for the specs it's going to represent very nice value for money. The only question you've got to ask yourself is, do I like it enough to buy it? And as is often the case with this brand, they do things a little bit different. When you dig into this watch and take a deeper dive into the build quality and the specifications, I think you'll see that the value for money here is surprisingly strong. There are some weaknesses mine, so of course I'm going to cover those. They have sent me the watch for free. That's why you saw the includes paid promotion icon in the top left hand corner, and there will be an affiliate link in the video description because of the AliExpress store. So yeah, that's why you saw that icon in the top left hand corner. If you want to know more, head down to my video description. I detail it in there. And of course, none of that is going to stop me from giving you my honest opinions when it comes to this watch. And like I've said, I will be discussing the weaknesses, but before I get on to that, I want to talk to you about some of the strengths, and there are some pretty cool strengths. Although tritium, it's sort of a strength. I'm not wild about it personally, but I like the fact that they sometimes use tritium tubes on their watches because, again, it is a little bit different. The Lume doesn't need charging, and they're using T100 Lume as well, which is a Swiss Lume, and it's stronger than T25. The number actually means something. It represents millicuries, which is a way of measuring radioactivity, and so T100 is 4 times stronger than T25. So as far as tritium tubes go, yeah, these are pretty good. And of course, you've got some extra Lume on the bezel around the outside. That seems pretty decent. I'll put a Lume degradation clip up at the end of the video, but because it's got tritium tubes on the hands and on the dial, well, it's not really going to degrade, is it, other than the bezel? And they've done something pretty cool. Because tritium tubes sit quite high, they've sort of given this watch a sandwich dial. It looks like they've got cutouts, and they have placed the dial over the tritium tubes, so the tritium tubes don't sit high off the dial. But there isn't a lot they can do about the tritium tubes on their hands. I think I'm going to be saying that a lot in this video. So the rehowl, the ring around the outside of the dial, sits quite tall because you've got tritium tubes on the hands and they're quite deep, which makes the watch quite deep. But I don't mind that. It looks a little bit stubby. I'd rather that than to make a huge watch in order to make the thickness more proportional with the overall size of the watch. I like the fact that this is a sort of skin diver sized dive watch. And if you don't know what a skin diver is, Google it. Now, something else that's pretty cool, the movement. They've not gone with the NH35, which they've often used in the past. They've gone with the Miyota 9015, and on their website it says that they will be regulating all the movements to plus minus 8 seconds a day on the time graph, and mine is running very, very nicely. That is fantastic. Another strength is the bracelet. It's got a fantastic bracelet. This is a 5-link bracelet. Those little polished links are individual links, and you often see that on premium watches. On cheaply made watches, they will have just made the center links have these little grooves, and then they would have polished the outside of the center link and it would have looked a bit cheap and nasty. But no, Aquatico have gone to the trouble of making this bracelet properly. So you get fantastic separation between the polished links and the brushed links on the bracelet, and it does look and feel like a quality bracelet. Solid end links, solid links, screw pins. The clasp is a nice clasp. You've got 6 micro adjustment options, but you know what I'm going to say. I know what you're going to say in the comments sections. Shall we all say it together? It doesn't have an on-the-fly adjustment system, and in 2025, that's an issue for a lot of people, I think, sadly. So that is one of the weaknesses that, I was going to mention. Now, I don't think it will be a deal breaker for everyone, but there are just a lot of watches in this price bracket, as well made as this, that do have the on-the-fly adjustment system in the clasps, and we are finding them so useful, aren't we? So if ever they go on to improve this watch, that's definitely something they need to include. Having said that, the clasp is very nicely made. It is a good quality clasp, and the finishing on this watch is premium, not only on the bracelet or with the bracelet, but the outer shell of the clasp, the case is beautifully finished. You've got some lovely satin brushing, some polished surfaces. The transitions between the two are excellent. Bezel action, a little bit disappointing, feels a little bit clunky. Alignment is good, but the bezel action is just, I don't know, it's just not great. Have a listen. It's quite subdued, isn't it? It's not bad. I mean, the action itself is nice. Very even resistance all the way around. Decent resistance as well. It's not too light. It's not too heavy. Just the clicks. I don't know. I'd like them to be a little bit more clicky. Of course, it is a 120 click unidirectional bezel action. Cool numbers on that ceramic bezel insert. Black polished ceramic insert, I should say, which I really like. And there's some real depth with this watch, isn't there? Because the dial sits so low, or so far away from the crystal, that rehowl, like I've said already, because of the tritium tubes, it's quite deep, isn't it? So there's a lot of depth to this watch. I've already mentioned it. 300 meters of water resistant, screw down case back, screw down crown, sapphire sandwich, another incredible strength. Blue AR coating under the crystal on the front of the watch, 2 pieces of sapphire crystal. I did say the specifications were strong, didn't I? And I meant it. Nice case back as well. It's brushed, which is great. I prefer the case backs to be brushed. They hide the scratches better, and you've got the individual watch number on the case back as well, which is brilliant. I can't believe I've got 001. How awesome is that? I don't think I've ever received a 001. Even when I made the Exciton with James, I got 002. He got 001. The dial, that's another weakness, I think. I'm not wild about this wavy dial. I think it just cheapens the watch a little bit. It just looks like a cheap plastic dial. I don't think everyone's going to have that opinion. I don't know. I'm not convinced by the dial. The hands are pretty cool. They contrast nicely with the black dial, and they've got tritium tubes on them. Did I mention that? Female end links, case dimensions, well, interesting actually. It is a small watch, isn't it? Because you've got female end links, the overall case length with the end links is quite short. It's definitely going to suit shorter than average wrists, but it's going to feel like it sits quite high off your wrist, or it does feel like it sits quite high off your wrist, although the weight distribution is fantastic because you've got solid links in the bracelet, a fairly substantial clasp, and it's not a big dive watch. It's just, it's going to sit, well, it's going to seem like it sits quite high. I forgot to mention the extra strap. They always send out their watches with steel bracelets and additional straps, or leather straps and also rubber straps, depending on the watch. Maybe if it's a bronze case, they won't be sending out a steel bracelet, obviously. You know what I'm saying. Are there any specifications I've missed? I don't think so. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover in this video. 6 color options available, 100 of each color option, numbered, like I said, sort of a limited edition production run. It's available on AliExpress or from their .com website. I've no idea what you're going to pay because of tariffs and exchange rates. I've put some prices on the screen for you to give you some idea. Will you be overlooking this brand in the future? Because I do think a lot of people do overlook this brand for whatever reason. It doesn't seem to get a lot of love. I don't see a huge number of reviews on YouTube of their watches. So when I handle watches like this, it reminds me just how well spec they are, how well made they are, and how I really do think this brand deserves a little bit more exposure in videos like this. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments section. It's now time for you to critique me and the watch. Let me know how I did. Cheers, guys.